Oh, okay. Thoughts are, and you're...
Oh.
Okay. Morning everybody, Mike from Usuallybrokencars. I am out today with Mike and we are going to have a first official drive in the Golf GTI. So we've done the MOT repairs, we've got the MOT, we've got the tyres, so let's get into it. Let's have a first drive and see how we get on. So we're going to go for our first drive, Mike's first time in a Golf GTI, so what do you think?
Looking forward to giving it a go.
Let's see what we can do. Yeah, let's have some fun.
Okay.
So, first drive of the Golf GTI. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little anxious because, you know, 750 quid's not a lot of money for a Golf GTI, but first impressions is it's really quiet in here, so I'm really pleased with that. The seats are nice and comfy.
They really hug you.
Yeah, to be fair, they've got a lot of bolster in them, even with 170,000 on the clock. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's go. And yeah, we're pulling away. And to be fair, it's changing gear nicely as well, so that's always a bonus, because that was a little bit of a worry.
So what's actually wrong with this that you had to fix?
So it failed the MOT on literally a drive shaft, which the owner had actually already bought and already got themselves a drive shaft. It failed on a front spring and a roll bar link and a tyre. I used an old tyre that we had kicking about at work, otherwise it was going to go in the bin, so that got the tyre sorted. The spring and the roll bar link were a whole 36 quid, which is crazy to think we're now
still under 800 quid.
Under 800 quid to have it on the road, which is just mad. So, but I mean, at the moment we've driven like a mile now and we're still going. Nothing's broken yet, which is always always nice.
So what's failed on the drive shaft? What's wrong with the drive shaft? What can go wrong with the drive shaft? Just break?
The actual inner joint had failed, yeah. Putting out one to 60-ish. Changing gear nicely. It's got that nice low down turbo torque that you want. So I'm quite impressed with that. I still can't get over how quiet it is though. Like, yeah. I think like you said, going from the Type R, which is obviously a really loud car. I mean, what did you describe it as before?
Asbo.
It's an Asbo car. So going from something that is as Asbo as that to having a nice quiet car, it is quite pleasant.
Quiet.
I mean, I haven't given any real beans yet, so
we're not shouting at each other at all.
We're not, no, exactly. It makes a change for us to not be shouting at each other, and you know,
everything works.
Everything works. It seems to be like the fan works. We've got the radio working now. The gearbox seems lovely and smooth. All the electric windows working.
Drives alright, stops alright.
Drives alright. I don't know about stops alright yet, but yeah, it seems to be. I mean, yeah, overall really impressed. We've got a few fast roads coming up that we can go down and just sort of see what that zero, sort of necessarily not 0-60, but see what the acceleration's like. Right, so we're pulling out onto a proper 60 now, so I'm going to go and give it the full beans, manual gearing. I was going to say, to be fair, it's a bit squirrely, the roads are very wet.
Not the best quality, if you know local roads.
Not the highest quality, yeah, exactly. Feel a bit of oh great, and we've now got an oil pressure warning light. Oh okay,
please, oil pressure, engine off.
I haven't even got anywhere safe to turn it off.
Right to the roundabout.
So So we've now got no oil pressure. Fantastic. This is
Welcome to Volkswagen Live.
fuck. Shit. Okay. All right. Okay. Fuck. Hang on. So we had oil pressure warning flashing up in this screen here. It's actually turned itself off now, so hopefully it's just a faulty switch. It doesn't appear to be making any horrible noises, and it doesn't appear to be behaving erratically, so yeah, fingers crossed it'll be alright, but we'll keep on driving and see what happens. So this is like your first official drive in a Golf GTI, right?
It is. Never a GTI before.
I mean, obviously you drove the Type R.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll have to see what your thoughts are and your. Oh, okay. Okay. Just pull over and turn it off and turn it on again.
That was.
Well, that was a short-lived journey, wasn't it?
Well, for the 50 yards that I drove it.
Okay.
Very nice. Oh yeah.
Other than the oil pressure warning light coming on again, actually for, like I said, oh no, I said it before. Okay, we're off. It's got a surprisingly large amount of torque. I still can't get over.
Nice, yeah.
I cannot get over how much torque. I mean, it's got a KO3 turbo, so it's a smaller turbo. It produces 197 horsepower, but actually, I'm really impressed with the torque delivery and the power delivery of the engine. And now we've got an iGo stuck in front of us.
In the middle of the road.
In the middle of the road, obviously.
So it's KO4, KO3. Doesn't the TT have KO4?
TT has KO4, but the TT's got 225, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's a 1.8, which is why when you get the 30th anniversary editions of these, they come with a KO4. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they come with a KO4 turbo. And having the KO4 is what makes them 230 brake, not 200 essentially. It is,
very
yeah.
comfy.
It's very comfortable, and actually, you do feel well planted, and I do feel like it's a vehicle that you could do like a reasonable journey in and still be quite comfortable.
Joke about VWs and stuff being a bit boring, but
I mean, it is vanilla in comparison to the Type R.
Well, you can tell the build quality is there.
You can, and
I'm not saying it's not with the Honda.
No. And the funny thing is about this was the last generation of Golf GTI. They put sound deadening in.
Really?
Which really surprised me, actually. I read this article saying that like, the Mark V was the best GTI ever made. Yeah, I mean the Golf GTI, like the Mark V, people rave about it, saying it's the best GTI they did, and I think it's actually quite. I don't know if it's obvious, but I mean I've never driven a 4 or a 321, whatever. Actually, to be fair, no, I lie. I have driven a Mark 7, and that was a really nice car to drive. But I actually think, I mean, for the money, this is a crazy car. It's such a pleasant place to be. And I know we keep banging on about it, but if you've driven something like a Civic Type R, whilst I actually think the Civic is definitely a more raw experience, and definitely. I think that manual gear changing and the way it revs to 9,000, if you're looking for a proper B-road
blaster,
if you're looking for a B-road blaster, I think the Type R is going to win hands down. But for something that you want to nip to the shops in, but you can also have some fun in, definitely this.
It's definitely a do-it-all car, isn't it? That's what I think they say about GTI, isn't it?
But I think that's why, yeah, exactly that. And I think that's why it is the popular choice, because it is the do-it-all car. You do get the complete package, and I think for the money,
I think if you drove, well, particularly your Type R, because it's so.
Yeah, I mean, my Type R isn't exactly the best example of a normal Type R, because I think like.
I think you'd be deaf.
Yeah.
Very quickly if you dailied it.
Yeah, well, I did daily it.
Hey?
Well, but I think for the. Oh, did you see that?
No.
That was the Alpha 156 twin spark.
Nice.
No, one thing I will say is that actually the whilst it's quiet, the exhaust note from the outside is quite pleasant.
Yeah.
And also the DSG farts, as people call them. Again, it farts nicely.
That's some words you never thought you'd say together.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
It's a nice fart, nice sounding fart.
Oh, what a lovely fart you just did. Right, so what can we say? First drive in the Golf GTI, and I think overwhelmed with two things. I think one, we were absolutely shit scared because of the fact that the oil pressure warning light came on, and I think it's gone out, so I'm guessing it's a faulty sensor. There doesn't appear to be any noise or anything, so that's a real good plus there. And the other big thing about it is just how nice it is for 171,000 miles. I think, like, actually, It's not. It doesn't rattle inside. The interior is still a really nice place to be. The engine's not making any unpleasant noises. So I think that's a real win. And I think for the money, I think we're absolutely laughing. So yeah, I've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, I think you said everything that needs to say. It's comfy. It's quick. It's smooth.
I mean, it's not like mind-blowingly quick.
Well, the only comparison I've got is the TT for one of these.
Yeah.
And it's decent.
I mean, I think it's as fast as the TT,
yeah.
and the TT's technically got 225 horsepower.
First experience of a DSG, which is...
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I like the DSG box, and I think actually the DSG box, for me, I think is, I know I said it before, is a win, but actually, yeah, it shifts really quickly. It's a nice feeling box as well, and the fact that you can sort of paddle, by yourself.
Yeah. It's easy to be purist, manual.
Yeah, it is.
I kind of get it.
I do get it, and I think maybe we do need to drive. Maybe somebody on the channel or one of the viewers has got a manual sort of stock GTI that we can drive, and we could do a back-to-back comparison and see what the difference between a manual and an auto feels like. But overall, I'm really happy. So
definitely.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the first drive, mate. Right, everybody, thanks for watching. We will catch you on the next episode. Bye.